The moment I realized my company was monitoring my laptop was completely accidental. I was not searching for anything suspicious. I was simply trying to fix a slow internet connection. But when I opened the system activity panel, I noticed something strange. A program was running that I had never installed. At first, I assumed it was just another background security tool. Then I checked the log history, and suddenly I understood something unsettling. Someone at the company had access to everything happening on my laptop. Everything. My name is Daniel. At the time this happened, I worked as a systems analyst for a mid-sized technology company. The company was growing quickly. New clients arrived every month. New projects appeared constantly. The environment was fast-paced and sometimes stressful, but I generally enjoyed the work. My job involved monitoring system performance and identifying technical problems before they affected clients. Most of my day was spent reviewing dashboards, analyzing system logs, and preparing reports for the engineering team. The office culture seemed professional on the surface. However, like many growing companies, there was an undercurrent of pressure. Managers expected quick responses. Deadlines moved frequently, and communication sometimes became tense when systems experienced unexpected problems. My direct manager was Chris. Chris had strong technical knowledge, but often struggled with communication. When things went well, he remained quiet. But when problems occurred, he became intense very quickly. Still, I managed the relationship professionally. One of the few people who made the office environment easier was Emma. Emma worked in the product strategy department and frequently collaborated with our team when new platform features were planned. She had a calm personality that balanced the stress of technical discussions. When meetings became chaotic, Emma quietly asked the questions that helped everyone refocus. Over time, we began working together regularly on system improvement projects. Those long project meetings sometimes extended into late evenings. During those quiet hours after most employees had gone home, our conversations often drifted away from technical topics. We talked about career goals, future plans, and occasionally the strange culture developing inside the company. Emma once said something that stayed with me. Fast-growing companies sometimes forget how to trust their employees. At the time, I did not fully understand what she meant, but I would soon learn exactly what she was talking about. The discovery began on a Wednesday afternoon. My laptop had been running slower than usual. Several system processes seemed unusually active. At first, I assumed the problem was related to the data analysis software I used for system monitoring. However, when I opened the task manager to investigate, something unusual appeared. A background process labeled System Activity Monitor was running continuously. That name sounded generic, almost intentionally generic. Curious, I checked the process details. The program had administrator-level permissions, and it had been active for months. I did not remember installing it. Most corporate laptops include security tools, so I initially assumed it was part of the company's standard setup. But then I opened the activity log. The log recorded every application opened on the computer, every website visited, every file accessed. The entries were time-stamped and transmitted to an external server every 15 minutes. I stared at the screen for several seconds, because suddenly the situation felt very different. This was not basic antivirus protection. This was detailed activity monitoring. Someone inside the company could potentially see everything I did during the workday. At first, I tried to stay calm. Many companies monitor company equipment to protect sensitive data. However, something about this program felt unusual. It did not appear in the standard company software list, and there had been no communication about its existence. That evening, I mentioned the discovery to Emma while we were reviewing a project report. She listened carefully. Then she asked a simple question. Did the company ever tell employees about monitoring software? No, I replied. Emma frowned slightly. That is strange. The next day, curiosity pushed me to investigate further. Because my job involved system monitoring, I had access to certain network diagnostic tools. Using those tools, I traced the server receiving the activity logs. The server belonged to an internal analytics system used by management. That discovery raised even more questions. Why would management need detailed logs of employee laptop activity? And why had no one informed the staff? Later that afternoon, something even more surprising happened. During a team meeting, Chris criticized a colleague named Jason for wasting time on unrelated websites. Jason looked confused. He insisted he had only checked a few industry articles related to a project. Chris responded with very specific details about the websites Jason had visited. The room became uncomfortably quiet, because Chris should not have had access to that information, unless he was using the same monitoring system I discovered. After the meeting ended, I checked the system logs again. This time I examined the transmission destinations more closely. One of the servers stored long-term activity records. Another transmitted summary reports to a management dashboard. At that moment, the situation became clear. Management was monitoring employee laptop activity in detail. But employees had never been informed. Emma and I discussed the situation later that evening. This could be a serious trust issue, she said quietly. I agree, I replied. But I do not know how widespread it is. Over the next few days, I quietly asked several coworkers if they knew about any monitoring software. No one had heard anything. That silence made the situation even more concerning. Because transparency matters when companies collect detailed employee data. Without transparency, monitoring can quickly feel like surveillance. Eventually, the issue reached senior leadership in an unexpected way. One of the engineers accidentally discovered the same monitoring program while debugging a system update. The discovery quickly spread through the engineering department. Employees began asking questions. Human resources became involved. Within days, the executive team scheduled a company-wide meeting. The CEO explained that the monitoring software had been installed months earlier as part of a productivity analysis initiative. However, the leadership team acknowledged that employees should have been informed. The monitoring system was immediately disabled. The company introduced a new transparency policy requiring full disclosure whenever employee data was collected. Looking back, the situation revealed something important. Technology can create powerful tools for analysis and security. But trust inside an organization depends on honesty. Without communication, even small decisions can damage workplace relationships. Emma summarized it perfectly during one of our late evening conversations. Companies forget that employees are people first, she said. I nodded. And people notice when trust disappears. So here is something worth thinking about. If you discovered your company was monitoring your laptop activity without telling you, how would you react? Would you confront management directly? Or would you simply start looking for another job? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy real stories about workplace secrets, unexpected discoveries, and corporate drama, subscribe to the channel, because the next story might reveal something even more surprising.